Two people fall in love. One grew up seeing love expressed daily. The other one grew up where love was assumed and never shown. Now they're married and both of them are wondering, why doesn't this feel right? Hello, I'm Grace Renner. You're welcome to Finding Love, where we build healthy and lasting relationships and marriages. Now, last week we started talking about expectations in marriage, and we talked about what expectations are and the types of expectations. And today we'll be talking about why people have expectations. I'll be taking you to the root of it and why people do not communicate their expectations. Our anchor scripture for this series is Amos chapter 3 verse 3, which says, "Can two work together if they be not agreed?" And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so, like this video, share it, and leave me a comment. And I'll be right back. Hello there. You're welcome to Finding Love with Grace Renner. The vision is simple: help you build healthy and lasting relationships and marriages. So feel free to join the movement by subscribing, liking, sharing, and leaving me a comment. Thank you. You're welcome back. Now let's get right into it. Why do people have expectations? Number one reason why people have expectations is upbringing and family model. What you see growing up becomes what you expect. Now, let me give you an example. For a man who saw his mom cook for his dad every single day, and when he enters into marriage, he would expect his wife to cook for him every single day. Or for a lady who saw her dad eat her mom's food every single day. At the moment she gets married and her husband feels like eating out some days, she might start to feel rejected. You see that? Number two reason why people have expectations is media and social conditioning. Movies, Instagram, and perfect marriages. You're comparing your real life partner to someone else's edited life. Now, the truth is, statistically speaking, there are more good marriages than bad marriages. However, social media has found a way to make it seem as though there are more bad marriages than good ones out there. But that's not true. Now, even though there are more good marriages, comparison isn't the way. Using your life or someone else's edited life as a yardstick, whatever they post on social media, as a yardstick to measure how healthy your love life is or how healthy your marriage is, isn't the way. They're good marriages, and I believe yours will be one of them. However, your journey is different. You don't use social media, magazines, movies, or your idea of perfect marriage based on what you're seeing as a yardstick to measure what a healthy marriage is about. Number three reason why people have expectations is past experiences. Trauma creates protective expectations. Oh, you mustn't hurt me like the other person did. And let me give you an example. If you dated someone who had a type and you weren't particularly the type, and you saw them treat you poorly, made you feel less than, and you don't heal from that experience, trust me, what will happen is when you go into another relationship, even if the other person worships you and praises you as their perfect spec, you'll still be expecting disappointment in your subconscious because of your past experience that you haven't healed from. Now, it's so important that we consciously heal after every relationship, all right? And remind yourself of who you are, of who God says you are. I saw a post on social media. A young boy was asking, I think that was his coach, he was asking the footballer, he was asking him, how do you maintain fitness as a footballer? And the man said, he started by defining what fitness means. He said, fitness is your ability to recover quickly. And I said, this is true. I mean, not just with football, not just with physical fitness, but with spiritual and emotional fitness. Your ability to recover quickly from that heartbreak, from that word that was said, from past trauma, is emotional fitness. Now, how do you develop emotional fitness? By developing discernment. Discernment is key. As you train yourself to be more discerning, you just find that you're naturally making better choices in partners. Okay, so start to train yourself in wisdom and discernment. It will help you build your emotional muscle. Okay, things that would normally even, you know, come to haunt you in future, you'll see that just by discernment you have avoided those things. Just by discernment you have seen how it will end up. So you don't end up putting yourself in that position over and over again. So training yourself in discernment is a way of building your emotional muscle. All right. Number 4 reason why people have expectations is personal needs and love language. People expect to receive love how they give it. We tend to give love how we expect to receive it, or we expect people to give us love how we are giving them love. And that is why knowledge is so important. Knowledge is key. Read books. The more you read books, you know how to receive love, how to give it as well. I remember how I used to have this challenge. Like, I always wanted to give love. I had so much love to give, but I had to learn to receive love. I had to learn that reciprocity is important. I had to learn that love is two people, not just one person. As you're pouring out, there should be a pouring in. I had to learn that by books. Now, I recommend for you, if you haven't read it before, to read The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It will help you. Knowledge is key. The more you acquire knowledge, the more you are a better candidate for marriage. As you pour in this knowledge into your marriage, you have a better chance at succeeding in marriage. Number 5 reason why people have expectation is control and fear. Expectations can be an attempt to control outcomes or avoid pain. Sometimes what we expect from others are things that we're trying to protect within ourselves. And when expectations rather come from a place of fear, it puts pressure on the relationship. So sometimes expectations come from our fears, what we don't want to happen, what we have seen before and do not want to repeat themselves. And we start to, put certain expectations, start to, project our fears, which now come out as expectations. Behind many expectations is fear designed as standards. Now that's it for why people have expectations. Now let's talk about why people do not communicate their expectations. Number 1, they assume it is obvious. Oh, if he loves me, he should. If she loves me, she should. Now the thing is, I remember I gave an example last week where I said I anchored a Valentine event, and the ladies were saying, oh, the men are not intentional. Why should we tell them how to treat us? And the men were saying, why would the ladies want us to learn or, assume, that they know? Now, the truth is sometimes we need to teach the men how to treat us. Sometimes the men need to teach us how to respect them. We shouldn't always assume that they know. Some people do not have the privilege of a role model as parents. Now, let me digress a little and teach you something. So you're a lady and you want a guy to pursue you the right way. Now, don't play games, because some ladies have attempted communicating and ended up playing games. And let me teach you a better way. So maybe, for example, you want him to do more of calling than texting, and he does more of texting, right? So what you want to do is tell him, oh, I've noticed that you do more of texting as opposed to calling, but I prefer calling because it will help me feel more connected to you. Now you've left that there. Or for example, you want him to come pick you up instead of sending you an Uber. And you can say to him that, oh, I know that sending me an Uber would be more convenient for you. However, I'll feel more special and like a matter to you if you come pick me. Moreover, it will help us, to bond more on our way to the venue. And you see that. Now, if you've communicated in words and he still doesn't, adjust. For the guy who likes to text, what you can do is after the first 2 times or 3 times that you respond to him, then you stop responding. Now, someone who is intelligent and, interested in making that relationship work, so remember and say, oh, it's true, she doesn't really like doing texting, she prefers calling, and then he'll make the necessary adjustment. Or in the text, in the aspect of, coming to pick you up for a date. Now, If he sends you an Uber again, you can ask him politely, sorry, why are you sending me an Uber? If he says something that you feel is not strong enough, you can say to him that, oh, if coming to pick me is not convenient at this time, we can actually postpone the date until it is convenient for you. And you've just communicated your value, and you've communicated your boundaries. All right, so try this, and of course, thank me later. Number two reason why people do not communicate their expectation is fear of rejection. Now you think, okay, what if I say it and they can't meet it? If I say it and they can't meet up with this expectation, you know, this majorly stems from people pleasing, wanting to be seen a certain way, to be perceived a certain way, or just being afraid of being rejected. Now, I used to be this person where, I'd call myself, I used to be a people pleaser, right? I used to find it difficult to express my needs because I didn't want to be seen as demanding, high maintenance, so it sort of put me in that box. I thank God I healed from that. I thank God that God healed me. I was such a load. Okay, so you don't want to be a people pleaser. You want to be someone who easily communicates their expectations, who is free to just speak up, who speaks up. I had to learn that, but God first had to heal me from that fear of rejection. I know God loves me, and that's the most important thing. That should be the foundation for every relationship. God's love. That confidence, just knowing that you're loved, you're chosen, you're accepted by God. That's the foundation. Number three reason why people do not communicate their expectations is lack of awareness. Now, how do you communicate what you haven't identified? Sometimes we don't know ourselves enough to communicate our expectations. We don't know ourselves enough to know what to expect from other people. And that's why knowledge is so important. Reading books will help you with self-awareness. It will help you to get to know yourself more and know what to expect from people, how to communicate what you expect from people. So, of course, that lack of self-awareness is one of the reasons why people do not communicate their expectations. They don't know what to communicate. They don't know what to expect from people. Number four reason why people do not communicate their expectations is fear of conflicts. And people tend to avoid hard conversations. But trust me, if you avoid hard conversations now, what you do is you create conflicts in future. All right. When you avoid hard conversations, you create more problems in future. So it's important to speak up. Not talking right now because you're trying to avoid conflict will only pile up and cause resentment in future. So let me leave you with these few words. Silence doesn't preserve peace. It only postpones conflicts. Not communicating your expectations would only lead to you being resentful in the long run. So learn to speak up. All right, that's it for today. Next week, we'll talk about how to communicate expectations and why we should communicate our expectations. Thank you for watching. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so right now. Like this video, share it, and leave me a comment. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.